If our world could speak, it would whisper in a voice as ancient as the rocks and as gentle as the first spring rain. It might speak of the eons it has spent spinning in the silent darkness of space, a breathtaking jewel of blue and white. This planet has nurtured life in all its wondrous forms, asking for nothing in return. But now, its whisper carries a note of sorrow, a tremor of pain. It would speak of a growing warmth it has never felt before, a fever that settles deep within its oceans and melts its ancient crowns of ice. The Earth would ask us to remember our profound connection to it. It has given us everything we have ever known. The soil that yields our food, the materials that build our homes, the staggering beauty that inspires our art and soothes our souls. And so, this living world, our only home in the vast, cold emptiness of the cosmos, continues to whisper. It asks a simple yet monumental question. Will we hear its warning before the whisper fades into an eternal silence? For most of human history, our footprint on this planet was light. But then, something shifted with the dawn of the Industrial Revolution. We unearthed ancient sunlight, locked away for millions of years in the form of coal, and later, oil and gas. This discovery unleashed unprecedented energy, powering factories, lighting cities, and propelling us across continents and oceans. The engines of our progress began to exhale a constant stream of gases into the atmosphere, most notably carbon dioxide. We had, without realizing it, begun a dangerous global experiment, altering the very climate that had allowed our civilization to flourish. To feed our expanding populations and build our sprawling cities, we began clearing ancient forests at a terrifying rate. The great forests, the lungs of our world, were being systematically destroyed, diminishing the Earth's ability to breathe. The story of the last 150 years is therefore a paradox. We have built a modern world of incredible complexity and comfort, but we have financed it by taking out a colossal loan from the natural world. Now, however, the bill is coming due. The scars of our progress are no longer hidden, they are visible everywhere, a stark reminder that our actions have powerful and lasting consequences. The most profound consequence of our industrial age is what we now call climate change. It is quite simply the warming of our planet. Think of the Earth's atmosphere as a greenhouse. Certain gases, like carbon dioxide, act like the glass panes, letting sunlight in but preventing some of the heat from escaping back into space. But by pumping billions of tons of extra carbon dioxide into the air from burning fossil fuels, we have thickened the glass. The evidence of this fever is undeniable, and it is all around us. We see it in the planet's great ice sheets in Greenland and Antarctica. As this ice melts, it flows into the sea, causing global sea levels to rise. The warming also supercharges our weather systems, turning normal weather events into extreme ones. It makes heat waves hotter and longer, leading to devastating droughts and wildfires. Hurricanes and cyclones fueled by warmer ocean waters become more powerful and destructive. The stable, predictable climate our ancestors knew is becoming a thing of the past. We have pushed these systems out of balance, and we are now beginning to witness the chaotic and unpredictable consequences of our actions. The Earth's fever is not just a symptom, it is a global emergency. Alongside the invisible threat of carbon dioxide, we have unleashed a much more tangible plague upon our planet: plastic. This material, a marvel of human invention, is remarkable for its versatility, its low cost, and its durability. We produce over 400 million tons of it every year, and a terrifying amount of that is designed to be used only once and then thrown away. Much of this plastic waste is not managed properly. It escapes our bins and landfills, and through wind and rain, it finds its way into our rivers and eventually into our oceans. This has created a kind of permanent toxic soup. For wildlife, this plastic tide is a death sentence. Animals mistake these brightly colored fragments for food. Over time, sunlight and wave action break down plastic into ever smaller fragments known as microplastics. We wanted convenience, but we have created a permanent pollution that now contaminates the entire planet, from its highest peaks to our own bodies. Our planet is defined by its extraordinary variety of life, what we call biodiversity. This rich tapestry has been woven over millions of years of evolution, creating a world of breathtaking complexity and beauty. Tragically, we are now living through a period of mass extinction. Scientists estimate that species are disappearing at a rate 100 to 1,000 times faster than the natural background rate. The primary driver of this loss is the destruction of natural habitats. As we clear forests for agriculture, drain wetlands for development, and dam rivers for energy, we are systematically dismantling the homes of countless creatures. Climate change is accelerating this crisis. As the world warms, many species are unable to adapt or move fast enough to find suitable new habitats. The consequences of this great silence are profound. When we lose a species, we lose it forever, but we also risk unraveling the very ecosystems we ourselves depend upon. The vanishing of life is not just an ecological tragedy, it is a direct threat to human well-being. We are sawing off the branch on which we are sitting, creating a quieter, poorer, and far more dangerous world for ourselves. It is a mistake to think of environmental problems as separate from human problems. The health of our planet and the health of our societies are inextricably linked. Climate change, for instance, is a major driver of global inequality and injustice. The wealthiest nations have historically produced the most emissions, yet the poorest nations, which have contributed the least to the problem, are suffering its most severe consequences. Consider the life of a farmer in sub-Saharan Africa, whose family has cultivated the same land for generations. Their livelihood depends on predictable rainy seasons. But as climate change disrupts these ancient patterns, the rains may fail for years, leading to crop failure and famine. We are all connected in this crisis. The Earth's pain is not an abstract concept. It manifests as human suffering, as economic disruption, as social unrest, and as a threat to the health and security of every one of us. In the face of such monumental challenges, it would be easy to succumb to despair, but that would be to ignore one of the most powerful forces on this planet, human ingenuity and our capacity for change. The transition to renewable energy is one of the most hopeful signs. The cost of solar and wind power has plummeted in the last decade, making them cheaper than fossil fuels in many parts of the world. We are witnessing the dawn of a new energy age. Nations are setting ambitious targets to become carbon neutral, investing in vast solar farms and offshore wind projects. On the issue of plastic, the tide is also beginning to turn. Hundreds of countries and local governments have implemented bans or taxes on single-use plastic bags, straws, and containers. Conservation efforts are also yielding incredible results, proving that with dedication, we can bring species back from the brink of extinction. Perhaps the greatest source of hope comes from the younger generation. These beacons of hope, from technological innovation to grassroots activism, show us that a different future is not only possible, but is already being. It is easy to feel small and powerless when faced with global problems of this scale. One might ask, what difference can I possibly make? The answer is a profound one. Great social and environmental movements are never built by a single action, but by the accumulation of millions of small, individual choices. Every decision we make in our daily lives, no matter how minor it seems, is a vote for the kind of world we want to live in. We can start in our own homes. We can reduce our consumption of energy by turning off lights, using more efficient appliances, and better insulating our living spaces. We can change how we eat, choosing to consume less meat and more locally grown seasonal produce. Beyond our personal habits, we have power as citizens and community members. We can use our voices to speak up for the planet. Ultimately, the power of one becomes the strength of many. Each one of us is a custodian of this planet, and together our actions can protect and restore the delicate web of life that sustains us all. We stand today at a unique and critical crossroads in the history of our species and indeed, in the history of life on Earth. The path we have been on, a path of unchecked consumption and disregard for the natural world, leads to a future of instability, scarcity, and loss. The science is clear, and the planet itself is sending us unambiguous warnings. We must now choose a different path. It is important to remember a fundamental truth: the Earth will survive without us. The planet, in its immense timescale, will be fine, but we will not. We are the fragile species, utterly dependent on the stable climate, clean water, and rich biodiversity that we are so recklessly destroying. This is not a question of politics or economics. It is a question of survival, and it is a moral imperative. We have a responsibility to the magnificent world that has given us life. The choice is ours, and the moment is now. We must see ourselves not as conquerors of nature but as a part of it. Our future and the future of all life depends on it.